Well, hi, Kara. Welcome to LTU's Amateur Hour podcast. My name's Evelyn,
Hey.
and this is Tori.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So let's start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm majoring in graphic design at LTU. I'll be starting my fourth year at LTU in the fall, but my third year in the graphic design program. I started out in the architecture program, then I switched after my first year.
So where are you from? What place made you the artist that you are today?
Yeah, so I've lived in Michigan all my life. I'm from Westland. I still live here. It's about a half hour south of LTU. So I'm able to commute to campus, which is nice.
Very nice. Saving on that housing.
Yeah, for sure.
What made you switch from architecture into graphic design?
So when I was like in high school trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I guess I was always sort of drawn to like doing something like creative and artistic, but I was kind of like sort of led to believe my whole life that like just focusing on art or design purely was not like a valid career choice, like as far as like making money and stuff. So I thought that architecture to sort of be like a good like pathway into doing something more creative while still being like financially like a sound choice. And then I realized that it was like, that was like just such a stupid mistake to make because like there's like when you're in high school, like you're definitely pushed more into doing like STEM or like things that will make you a lot of money versus like what will actually make you happy, I think. And so for me, realizing that I could just focus like purely on design without having to worry about like the technicalities of like a STEM degree, that was like a really freeing like choice for me to make. So I was definitely like a lot happier when I switched over to graphic design. I felt like I like found my place.
I'm so happy for you that you found your place.
Oh, thanks.
And I just switched into graphic design too. You made a great decision, paved the way for us.
I have been called a revolutionary a time or two before.
So your pieces, they're bright and they're vibrant, and I personally am very inspired by them. Can you tell everyone, like what they are for the people who don't see them?
The Don't Trust Soup postcard is like one piece of a larger project I did. And the project is called Conspiracy Factory. It was for my graphic design 2 class. So we were allowed for our like final end of semester project, we were allowed to choose like sort of any topic we wanted to, and then a means of graphic production to like explore that topic. So something like logo design or poster design or digital painting. So I chose to design a series of symbols with my own like conspiracy theories that I have created. So the Don't Trust Soup postcard was like sort of just one like piece of graphic work that I applied my designs to. I also designed like bumper stickers and smaller stickers and stuff like that.
What inspired you to make it about conspiracy theories?
So in the graphic design 2 studio, back before the lockdown, we were still seeing each other in person. Me and a lot of my classmates just sort of like expressed an interest in like conspiracy theories and pseudoscience and like aliens and crazy stuff like that. And we actually made like a wall in the studio of like a bunch of fake conspiracy theories, like connected with like red thread and everything. And so I kind of like, once quarantine started and I was feeling like sort of disconnected from my classmates, I was like thinking back to that memory of how fun it was to like create that conspiracy wall. And I sort of wanted to like recreate that in my own way with Conspiracy Factory.
So what was your process once you like knew that you wanted to go back to all of your friends and all of those memories? How did you start?
So I started by doing some research into like the like the giants of the conspiracy industry, like Alex Jones, Gwyneth Paltrow, all those good people. And I was basically just looking for like the most crazy conspiracy websites I could find. And then I would like borrow language from those websites. Like for example, it'd be like, don't trust, like GMOs, or like don't trust vaccines, like crazy stuff like that people actually believe. And then like substituting in just like really innocuous everyday stuff like soup, for example, to make it sort of like mostly ridiculous, but like almost a little bit believable.
Yeah, I saw one that said, don't talk to babies.
Yeah. That one turned out a little bit creepier than I might have intended. But yeah, so it's basically just like once I made a list of all the like conspiracy phrases that I was going to use, then I just dove straight into like designing the logos and applying them to the different designed objects.
So when you were applying them to your objects, did you have any setbacks with that?
I think the setbacks were mostly in like the beginning of the project when I was sort of figuring out like the style that I wanted to do when designing, and like sort of trying to find the balance between like how much time do I want to spend on designing each of the different theories versus like just like producing as many as I could. So I think my biggest challenge was like realizing that like some of them just weren't going to work, and it was better to just move on to like create something else instead of sinking all my time into one design.
Is the Don't Trust soup your favorite design?
It actually isn't, but it seemed to be everyone else's favorite, so I kind of just went along with it. My favorite is actually the big potato. It's like a potato with a bunch of eyes on it.
I have your Show LTU coed page up because you got fine grain. You got fine grain for this. So talk a little bit about that. How did that feel?
That was really cool. When they reached out and asked if I wanted to be in the Show LTU coed exhibition, I think like everyone else in coed, I was kind of feeling sad that we weren't going to be able to go back to campus to like see everyone's like final projects up, because that's always like my favorite part of the end of semester is like going in all the different studios and seeing people's projects. So I was like super honored that I was featured with like such great designers on the website, and it was cool to see everyone's projects online.
So I think this is the question that everybody is really wondering is, why can't you trust soup?
Okay, well, first of all, you don't know what's hiding in the soup. If you have a bowl of opaque soup, you don't know what could be at the bottom of that bowl. There could be anything down there. Second, there was, I don't know if you guys remember that, like, it was a lawsuit that was a really big deal about like the old lady who like spilled McDonald's coffee on her, and she like won the lawsuit for like $100 million. Who's to say that soup couldn't be just as hot or hotter? It could burn anyone at any time. You never know. And other than that, just does anyone really sit down and think like, I want to eat a bowl of soup? Like, soup is not, it's not a natural food. Cannot be trusted.
You make a lot of good points.
Thank you.
And I think I'm on board with them.
Awesome. I'll sign you up for the cult.
Yes, please. So these conspiracy things, they're personally one of my favorite designs that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Thank you.
What are you going to make going forward?
You know, who's to say what the future will hold? I sort of, when I finished the project, like in the context of like a school project, I sort of intended to like go back and create more conspiracies. I haven't done that yet, but I would like to think that that conspiracy factory still like has a place in my future, and hopefully I can continue to just be a fruitful theorist throughout my life.
This will be your fun little passion project.
Yeah.
I love it. And then since you're a designer and this is your passion, this is what you found, so much better than architecture.
Yeah.
What's the favorite thing about what you do?
I have to say my favorite thing is just like whenever I design something, whether it's like something more casual and fun like Conspiracy Factory, or something more serious like working with a client on a project, I just love seeing people's reactions to my designs, especially when they're like, oh my God, yes, that's like exactly what I envisioned. Like you made my vision come to life. That's always my favorite part, just like seeing how people react.
What else have you made so far that you really love? Or is Conspiracy Factory your favorite?
Conspiracy Factory is definitely up there, but I recently worked with Arbor Pride, and they moved to, instead of having a physical event like they were planning, they moved it to an online event. So I did the like sort of rebranding design for them this year, and that event took place on August 1st. So it was really cool to see my designs featured in that. I was super proud of that project.
Where can people go to see that work?
AnnArborPride.com. You can, I think the videos are still up, like the archived live stream.
So that's really big.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. And then where can people go to find all of your other works?
You can find me on Instagram at Kara_Dawkins, and then that links to my portfolio as well.
So then they can go and they can subscribe to all of your future conspiracy theories.
Yeah, for sure.
Your work is amazing, and
Thank you.
I'm inspired by it. I know so many people that love your work once they see it. Do you have any advice for other artists or other designers?
I would say for other designers, if you are like sort of like just dipping your toes into the world of design and you're not super familiar with like design software yet, like Illustrator or InDesign or stuff like that, I would say not to let that hold you back, because if you're like sketching or if you're just like, you know, just sort of learning how to use these softwares, like it can be difficult to get started, but I would say don't don't let that limit you at all.
How did you move past that limitation into being better with all the softwares?
I think just like honestly, more so than like watching tutorials or anything like that, just like setting aside some time to just like explore the software and like just click on every button and like try every feature for yourself. I think that's the best way to learn.
What's your favorite button?
The record action tool in Illustrator is pretty good because you can like set a action and just like with one click of a button you can do like super complex stuff.
Oh my gosh, what have you used that for?
Well, you can also use it in the different programs like Photoshop too. So if you have like a series of photos and you want to like sort of homogenize them, you can like take one photo and then like put a color filter on it, or like you know, any sort of edits you might want to make, like make it black and white, put like a halftone filter on everything, and then you can record that action. So if you have like 20 pictures that you want to make like have a similar visual style, you can do it like super quickly.
Oh my gosh, I think you just saved my life. I'll make sure to hit you up when I have more questions about all the programs.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is your favorite, Illustrator or Photoshop?
I mean, they're good for different things, but I have to say Illustrator, just because I'm more into like making like geometric stuff and shapes rather than like digital painting, which I guess if you're like more into, you'd use Photoshop if you're more into like digital painting. So yeah, I would say Illustrator is my go-to usually.
How do you start with your designs in Illustrator?
Well, I always start by like sketching. So once I have my sketches, then I'll just go build like the basic geometry in Illustrator. And then if I want to like add texture or stuff like, or like shadows or stuff like that, like for the Amateur Hour logo, how the shapes have like the different like sort of cloudy textures in them, then I would take my like solid shapes they made in Illustrator, and then I bring them over to Photoshop and add texture.
Do you sketch on paper first and then put that image as like, okay.
If it's simple enough, I'll just go straight into Illustrator. But if I have a more complex sketch, then sometimes I'll like scan it and then trace it in Illustrator.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to use that on my next project now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I love talking with you. And if you guys want to see how you cannot trust soup, you should go visit the GCDT all of this first semester. Beware, the soup is evil. All right. Bye, Kara. Thank you.